Hey everybody, welcome to a special Halloween edition of Doing It Like Danny. Hey everybody, welcome back to Do It Like Danny special Halloween edition. We'd like to welcome our fellow haunting guest today, in addition to Cousin Louie. Hi, Louie.
Hello.
We'd also like to welcome Cousin Angelo.
Well, hello.
And his good friend, Katarina. She doesn't speak a lot of English, Katarina. But hi, Kat. Thank you for joining us. Thank you.
for having me.
Oh, so glad. Angelo pressured me into it, but it's all good. I get to swim next year all summer long naked. Yay! But listen, I wanted to say welcome and thank you so much for joining us on our first ever
Halloween episode.
Special Halloween episode. You're probably wondering what the hell are we going to talk about? We don't know either, but it's going to be fun. I know you're probably wondering why I didn't dress up. My nipples are here, but yeah. That was the extent of my dressing up for today. It's been a very, very busy week for me. In addition to just, my insane stuff, as everybody knows, I partake in rideshare services. And I just want to share this. So I don't know, this is obviously not Halloween, but this is just kind of something I really don't ever feel old, but I felt old the other day. I had these girls get into my car and, we started a conversation, we started talking and it was back and forth and they were very lively, a lot of enthusiasm, a lot of energy. They were very nice. And I said to one of them, I said, "Oh, I love to cook." And she said to me, she goes, "I love that for you." And I was like, I was kind of taken aback because I didn't know if that was a fuck you or if that was a genuine, I love that for you. So apparently all the kids, and I say all the kids, apparently all the kids are saying, "I love that for you."
Yeah.
New slang.
So I don't know if it's a fuck you and it's just say fuck you, right? But when someone's talking to you, all of a sudden you just go, "I love that for you."
It's a very backhanded compliment.
Yeah.
It's the new bless your heart.
That's
Meaning I don't care.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
but they were telling me all their stuff, so I thought I would catch on and be like, "Oh God, I don't want to be left out." So I love that for you guys, right? I didn't know it.
And that is a scary story.
And that is, because that just means that I'm getting further along in my years.
Well, she could have said, "You go, boo."
Am I honey boo boo?
That's
Am I
over.
honey boo boo?
Yeah.
So I honestly don't know what that was. I didn't know how to read it, but I used it right back at them. So I don't know if I was telling them to fuck off as they were telling me to fuck off.
That's good.
Who knows? Again, that was a scary story. You were right. That's a scary story. But how was your week, Lou?
My week's been pretty good. I like some of the episodes we've been producing lately. A lot of good energy, a lot of good fun.
I don't remember anything.
Well, neither do I. I passed out. So another story for a different time.
And by the way, I need to make a mention, just so you know, yes, we're back at Angelo's compound. We decided to do a dark episode, as you can tell. So we're here in the seance room. So this room...
I told you.
Yeah.
I told you it's kind of scary.
So we're here in the seance room. That's why we thought it was fitting to do a Halloween episode. Normally we're outside. And what people really don't know is this home has been haunted for years. So that's part of my reservation of filming inside all the time, because weird things will happen. Lights will turn off and on, and things will fall, the TV will turn off and on and stuff like that. So we're always really scared to kind of tape and like I said. Anyways, so we're in the seance room. Angelo will probably share later. The reason why I wanted to do this episode also too was obviously we wanted to channel something. But in addition to that, he'll share more later, and I'm sure Kat has stories. I don't know, Louis, do you have a story?
I have none, but I am definitely here to hear your story.
Yeah.
I've been told
So-
you have a good one to share.
I will give what I know in terms of a little bit of background. Actually, you know what? Fuck, I'm getting into it too soon.
Yeah,
Sorry.
wait.
Cut. So I know I was talking about every week, and I know, of course, I always talk about myself. My bad, right? But Angela, how was your week?
So sadly, the dog that I inherited from my neighbors passed away this week.
Aw.
Oh, we're so sorry.
So it was a tough way to wake up on Tuesday to find him passed away. We knew he was compromised already with some heart issues and a collapsed larynx.
Oh.
So you would hear him choking and barking and so forth. Yeah, so that's
There's his spirit now. No, I'm just kidding.
Not like Bubba, though.
not like Bubba.
That's
That's
Bubba.
not him.
That's
Right.
not him.
by the way.
This one is strong.
That's Bubba.
Just backstory: when we were living across the street at our previous home, he was our neighbor's dog.
Okay.
So we had just gotten Pepper, and so Pepper immediately became his girlfriend. Yeah. And we had a chain link fence that separated our properties, and he would burrow. He would dig underneath. And he would come through our dog door, and we could hear it flap like 7 a.m. We could hear his chain hitting the dish, the food bowls. So we knew he was there. And from that point, he pretty much became our dog.
Aw.
Maybe they didn't feed him.
He was trying to escape.
I mean, you give him a lot of treats.
Oh,
So he did, at least in the end he came, there was lots of love. Like
there was. Oh my God.
he definitely lived a great life. I mean, I interacted with him also too, and of course towards the end he was a little angry.
He became a very grouchy dog.
Yeah, you get a little George Burns-ish, but yeah, he was definitely. But I'm so sorry. We're so sorry to hear that. So it's hard. I know we treat our pets better than we do ourselves sometimes, right?
Oh yeah.
Speaking of which, we look at that little Bubba's over there eating.
Oh yeah.
At least she shut up. I'm just kidding. but
They're
then
like my life.
yeah.
They are my life. They are my life.
Yeah, they definitely are your life.
Louie and I both have this in common with a recent loss of a pet. And this is your first time, Louie, right?
Yes, that was
So,
my first.
Louie got a little choked up when I did mention it to him
Yeah, it
earlier.
was kinda
And so,
And it comes in threes. We just lost Matthew Perry, so
What kind of breed was he?
I don't know.
So do you remember? I forget what show it was, but they used to predict like who was going to pass in the next year.
Really?
Oh yeah, I forget who that was.
Was that like black and white television or?
Radio. It was radio.
Oh, radio. Right. My bad.
So can we do a round table and say just one person that we think may not make it? Or is that
I'm
really
gonna say
morbid?
Bubba in about 2 fucking seconds.
Bubba.
I vote Bubba in.
Yeah. Oh God.
They're like, how did she end up in the pool? I'm like,
Well,
I don't know.
I know.
Danny, you smell like chlorine. I do not.
Yeah, Suzanne Summers too.
Oh,
right.
So there's one more coming.
I think Bruce Willis, but maybe I'm wrong.
I'm saying
you
Ozzy
think
Osbourne.
Ozzy.
Ooh.
Ozzy Osbourne.
You do? Really?
Ooh, that's so
'Cause he's
dark
getting up
and
there.
What's going on with him?
I mean, what isn't going on with him? I
he's
mean,
been old.
Well, his
mean-
wife's not looking that hot. Oh,
well, she's Ozempified.
yeah. 2 minutes, right?
I mean, listen, I love Mrs. O, but
Yeah.
like everybody's getting Ozempified.
They're too
Like,
much.
It's too much. And now, of course, with all abuse of everything in life, now they're coming out with, it causes brain seizures and
Wow.
like your face to sag
They
and,
don't
and
know the
very
effects.
reminiscent of Bell's palsy. So it's like, yeah, you're thin, but
Yeah.
you're like, you're deformed. So yeah, she lost a lot of weight, but Mrs. O has always been on that, not fitness kick, but that, she, when I would watch shoots and they'd be dressing her, she has the lines
Excess skin.
where they removed it.
Yeah.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
really interesting because it looks like it's very reminiscent of like lacing up a football. The scars are deep. So whenever they would ask for like wardrobe, they always made sure, if you ever notice, she always has long sleeves.
Yes.
Right.
She never has short sleeves ever. And it's not bad. I mean, if you're up close, you can see it, right?
Yeah.
But if you're far away, you don't really see it. But she's had quite a few different things. So I mean, if you look at before and after photos,
Oh,
I mean,
she's another person.
It's,
Like one of the
she's
Kardashians.
totally another person.
Yeah.
I mean, those, it's a lot. Like it's really, but it really makes you look like you're surprised that she's as far along as she is.
Yeah.
I sent you a picture.
Yeah. You
And
sent
it
me a
does
photo.
not look like her at all.
That's crazy. And you know, Kelly, I'm sure she said she did hers naturally, but come on.
Yeah, right.
Everybody's Ozempified.
And it lasts only while you're using it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So once you stop, the weight
It's like,
comes back. So
Oh,
just
wow.
why not like do intermittent fasting or do something that's better for
Well,
you?
I will say this. Listen, I have been burning about 1,100 calories.
Swimming.
So I've been swimming like and burning literally in one session. I'll burn 1,100 calories, right?
Oh, wow.
And I've really been trying to watch what I eat in terms of
Yeah.
my intake. Like what we ate tonight was that was my first meal all day long, and that's I don't think. Hopefully, it's not over 1,100 calories, but still,
Right.
it's when you get older, it's fucking harder to lose weight.
Oh yeah, I started doing the fasting, so it's actually I lost 10 pounds.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and I've got like 20 more to go. But I was thinking like, God, I kind of want that pen, but I'm not doing it because I don't. I take a Tylenol and then I wait to see what's going to happen. So I'm like, I would not try any of it. you know?
Yeah,
I mean,
like-
seriously, I did a little Adderall once. You know, and
Oh
I
my
thought I was going to have to go in the ER. So
Wow.
you know, that was the first. What's it called?
Ozempic.
Ozempic, yeah.
Well, Adderall was,
The first thing.
originally
Yeah.
designed for people who have ADHD, right?
Right.
And then one of the side effects was like, oh my God, all these people, they're losing so much
the
weight.
kids.
Which is the same thing with Ozempic. And I think there's another one, Wegovy or I don't know,
Yeah.
Wagyu.
Yeah.
But that was the side effect. And the same thing was for, what's the dick pill? What's the
Viagra.
Oh yeah, Viagra. So
You lose weight
Viagra
on
was
that?
for blood pressure.
Yes.
And the side
Yes.
effect was, right?
Can you imagine?
These
So they
old
were
men
like-
were getting these rock hard.
Yeah, they're
Oh
like,
my God.
their sex
It
drive
was, and it was found on
increased.
accident.
On
And
accident.
so that's why at the homes, sudden STDs.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Oh,
STDs went
Oh,
up like
my
in
grandmother-
Miami or yeah.
Okay, my
Yeah.
grandmother lived in a senior building.
Hey.
Her next door neighbor was like a little hoe. She used to like do BJs in the garage.
Oh, are we allowed to say garage?
Halloween episode, scary.
Old people having sex.
Yeah, exactly.
Funny side note about that. Viagra.
You don't have a
You're on
garage.
it right now.
Yeah.
You have it. You just took
Yeah.
one an hour ago.
This is not a mic, by the way.
Are you gonna
Kat and I were working together briefly, and she was tossing out some old Viagra, and I'm like, no.
Wait. You got to go back to the.
Wait, does
I
it
don't
do
wanna
the
name
same thing for
names.
pussy?
Oh, okay. Well, no, we were. Somebody passed away.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, so
And you
the
were-
husband in this duo passed away, and I was cleaning out, helping the wife. And so, upon finding like some old weed and some pills and this and that, that's where now.
So she was going to toss it, and I'm like, oh, hell no, give that. She's like, no, it's expired like 10 years ago. I'm like, I don't care.
This one will lick it off the
So
phone.
I took them, and I'm like, Kat, my thighs are so sore. It didn't work, except I had all the
For a
side
week.
effects.
For a week. A week, his legs hurt. I said, I told you.
Yeah.
You shouldn't take that because
Makes your legs hard.
Yeah.
That's some hard legs.
See, he couldn't go up the legs into the
Yeah, no, it didn't quite make it.
Well, you know what I totally forgot to mention? We forgot to ask you how your week was, and people probably went, who the hell is this person? Where I always do that. Like that's one of my biggest celebrity flaws. Is that I forget to introduce people, and so besides Bubba, who has introduced herself multiple times, Kat is one of Angelo's near and dear friends, and obviously a friend to the show. And so, how did you two? Well, first,
Meet?
yeah, like how did you guys meet? Because people are gonna be like, "Who's Kat? Who is Kat?"
I'll let you share.
Okay,
Yep,
so-
yep, absolutely.
Angelo's ex from many moons ago.
Who's dead?
Yeah. Who actually flickers this light to the right of me?
And I have proof. I
Yeah.
have the
We have
receipts.
yep, there's a
I have
video.
receipts.
So we met one night at his house, and it was funny because he had a book on the table, right? And it was someone's biography. I don't remember who it was, but we got into it with the stories and this and that, and then that was it. I mean, that
It was a book called "You'll Never Spa in This Town Again."
Oh, yeah, you brought this
Yep.
up before.
And,
Was that John Travolta's book?
Yes, and are we allowed to say Jean Claude?
Yes, you mentioned that
yeah,
already,
yeah.
too.
And Kat used to work for Jean Claude.
Oh, little Van Damme. Oh, it little.
Are
it
the
is
rumors...
little.
Wait,
that was in
So-
2009.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we met through.
Eight,
She's
nine.
friends. She was friends with Keith and my ex. And
Yeah,
that's
we
how
were real
met.
close.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then him and I just
And how long you guys known each other for? How long?
Since like 08, 09.
Wow.
Something like that.
Oh my God. That's when I started drinking wine.
Yeah. We're two Sages. Keith was a Scorpio.
So how was your week? Like putting all of that aside, like how was your week? Because we all did
My
our
week
own
was a
little
little
week.
crazy. It's kind of good. I mean, like I'm probably going to be switching jobs, and then I also write, and so I have a Christmas story that through another Christmas story it's going to get done. So hopefully, keeping fingers crossed, and all the strikes are hopefully.
done.
So you're a
Yeah,
writer.
I'm a writer.
Okay. Oh God, that's hard.
It is.
Funny,
I know.
funny
I picked
shit.
the hardest thing.
Funny
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah,
That's
I did a
hard.
little comedy. I did Christmas, but yeah, I've got a few things kind of brewing.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. That's so good. Well, hopefully you'll be able to come back and share some of those things, and we'll be
hope so.
first to share these tidbits of Christmas story.
I get a lot of
Sex
ideas
diversion.
from this one.
Oh yeah, he has a
We're
lot of
always-
ideas.
I
He's-
know, we just bounce like, our synergy is.
yeah, and he was him and his little dog.
It's the only way to keep her quiet.
I know she's like all.
I said, "Oh
festive.
God, I lost touchdown this week." I said, "But I don't want to kill you because you won't stop barking."
I don't remember her barking so
She's
much.
a bark. She can hear a leaf fall and she goes crazy.
But there's a mouse in the kitchen and
There's
she's
a
quiet.
mouse in the house. They just,
That's
She doesn't
funny.
do anything.
Well, thank you so much for coming and and playing with us tonight. This is great.
Oh, yeah.
So, as I said before, the purpose of this episode, this special Halloween version in the seance room on Angelo's compound here in lovely Santa Paula.
so you weren't off base when you said that the house is haunted.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
This house. So previous owners passed away here. Wow. Yeah. And I used to love to tease Austin because, truth be told, we have separate bedrooms. And I used to go, "Oh my God, he passed away in your bedroom, right?" No, it turns out he passed away in the bedroom I have. Wow. Yeah. So the weirdest thing happened to me, and I mentioned it to the previous owner that we bought the house from. And I said, we were trying to figure out what bedroom he passed away in, because I feel, and I'm not kidding, I feel all the time like something pushing up underneath my bed. And I used to think it was my dogs, but many times, and even recently, I feel like something pushed up against the bed, and I think it's the dog wanting to get up because they can't quite jump up on the bed. Yeah. So I'm thinking, it's just Pepper or Bubba or what touchdown, God rest her soul, wanting to get up. And it's not. And it doesn't even scare me anymore.
Do you ever get like on your hands and knees and put your butt in the air to see if that?
Mom, you didn't hear that.
I mean, something's pushing. I mean,
No.
the boy can dream.
the lights flicker and you're like, "Oh, it's time."
I wish I had warning. Yeah.
Ghosts don't care if it's messy, right? No, I'm kidding. Sorry.
Another
Edit
scary
that
story.
Please. Yeah.
All these young kids, they enjoy that. It's so fucking weird. That's another episode.
But we have lights flickering, and I have the receipts. I kid you not.
Do you have video of that?
Oh, absolutely. And we will share that with you, Louie.
All right.
Yeah.
We should.
Yep.
So
No, we
this
do.
is video of the lights flickering in Angelo's home.
Okay, my friendly ghost, because that's a brand new light bulb. Oh, now it disappeared. Interesting. Come on, show yourself. Oh, show yourself. Don't be shy. Oh, okay, again. It's a brand new light bulb. Show yourself. You've been blinking since I moved you there somehow. Are you talking to me? Blink. Are you trying to communicate with me? Do I know you? Is it somebody who just passed? I've had many loved ones passed. Are you a loved one, or are you the man who passed in this house? Are you a friend of mine who passed away? Are you Keith? Is that you, Keith? Okay, I just got chills.
So a living room light kept blinking, brand new light, right? Kept blinking, kept blinking, kept blinking. So I was in the kitchen and I could tell that the light was blinking. And I came out of the kitchen and I looked at the light and I'm thinking, okay, what's going on here? So I started talking to the light and I'm like, are you trying to tell me something? Is this a man who passed away in the house? Nothing. I'm saying, blink. If you're the man, do I know you? Blah, blah, blah. And then finally I said, Keith, is that you? The light flickered.
No way.
Ooh.
And I got chills.
I just got chills right now too.
Got chills. Then I thought, oh shit. And then it stopped. And I immediately, so when Keith, my ex-partner, passed away, it was Kat and 2 other friends of ours that took care of him at the end. And I immediately sent them the videos. And we all kind of knew at that moment that that was him. Wow.
And we all had our experience with him too, though. I had one. Vicky had one. Vicky, I think she was talking to him and her bed like imprinted down, like somebody was sitting next to her. So we figured it was him. I heard his voice. I heard him. I think Monty and I were arguing, and he like was like, "Oh my God!" I heard it like as plain as day, and I heard my dad after because both my parents died in 2019, and I was listening to music one night, and in the earbuds I heard my dad clear as a bell. I've had 2 things with him.
Oh wow.
Her parents passed away
2 months from each other,
within 2 months of each other.
and they weren't married. They were divorced since I was 3. Wow. Which wasn't that long ago, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Wow, that's crazy. I mean, you definitely have had the paranormal in your life for a very long time, and so for folks that don't really know, and we won't give out like names and stuff to protect my Tia, but would you say that was like your growing up, your resident, like growing up there, that home?
Yeah.
And so for people that don't know, Angelo lived in a home with his sister and his mom, right? I've been there before, and but I don't think I've ever spent the night or ever been alone. But I've always felt like there was something, but I have never experienced anything. I've only heard the stories, and all of this is true because UCLA actually came out and did a survey, correct?
I
Whatever
wasn't there,
research
with my mom. Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's wild.
And it's super wild, and like so you can tell it better.
Yeah, and,
just give like 2 or 3 instances.
So I really didn't experience the type of situations that my mom did, but we certainly growing up, we heard knocking on the walls.
Ooh, that's weird.
So it was scary, and our cousin Gina used to spend the night all the time with us, right? And she was always fearful to go to one particular bathroom. She would make one of us go with her. She would literally stop dead in her tracks.
the one under the stairs or the one down the hallway?
Down the hallway.
Where the fountain used to be?
Yep.
That fountain used to creep me out.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was like, because they have like a fountain inside with rocks,
Oh,
right?
yeah, my
And-
mother and her design. but what's interesting is
God,
that
she's gonna hear you.
so we grew up in Mission Hills, and there's actually a mission. So there's a lot of Indian burial grounds.
Yes.
Oh.
Around
Well,
there.
this whole area.
Yeah.
No, that's Santa Paula, but
think
Thousand Oaks, Camarillo, same thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's an Indian profile going
Well, I
down
mean,
the grade.
listen, this was all Mexico before the colonizers came in and scarily took it all away from us. But go ahead.
So
sorry.
the only experience, and I shared this with Kat, and I've only shared it with a few people. It's weird because it was one of those moments in my life where I thought, this is not a dream because I remember it too vividly. So I was telling Kat, so we were adding on a master bedroom to the above the garage. So my mom and my stepfather were using the middle bedroom, which was the smallest bedroom in the house, and it eventually became my bedroom. But they were sleeping there, and for whatever reason, my sister and I were sleeping on the floor in front of the bed, at the foot of the bed. And I was sleeping facing the door. And I remember this as clear as day. I remember everybody was asleep and I can hear snoring and so forth. And it was very late at night. And for whatever reason, I looked up and I saw a shadow in the door frame. And for whatever thought I had in the moment, I recognized it as being my stepfather, but I knew he was in bed asleep. And I see him raise his foot back as to go and kick me. And I pulled my coverings over my head, and that is all I remember.
Because you were terrified.
I was terrified.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah. It was a really bizarre experience, and I really didn't share that with a lot of people, and I didn't wake up the next morning telling anybody. I don't know why I didn't do that. But to this day, I can remember that like it was yesterday.
Wow. I remember Thea telling me all those stories about the kids. And I remember also, too, that the TV would turn off and on.
Lots of things
Yeah.
happened.
The TV would turn off and on by itself. And I remember when we had the earthquake. And I forget, it was a Grammy. Grammy said to your mom and said, well, come over here and stay. And because your mom was by herself. And Thea was like, no, I'm fine. I'm okay. He's here with me.
Yeah.
She says he protects her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He says he protects her, which is
terrified.
like, I would be terrified too. I would be like,
I'd run out.
I would shit my pants.
They're the ghost of Mrs. Muir. Do you remember that show?
Yeah.
That's her ghost.
And let me tell you, like, so I didn't find out these stories until later on in life. But like, I didn't know any of them growing up, as as we would go visit and there were parties there and stuff like that. But there was one time we went out to dinner with Thea and my mom, and I had to go to the bathroom so bad. I had to go to the bathroom, and so we stopped, and then I knew then the stories, but Thea goes, yeah, go ahead, go inside, go to use the bathroom by the kitchen of the one on the stairs.
Yep.
And I was like, okay. And I thought about it. And then the whole time I was in the bathroom, I was like, oh my God, because they were outside talking.
Oh, yeah.
I was by myself in the house.
Oh.
And like nothing happened, but still I was just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
but I remember being there at nights, and I remember that bathroom at the end of the hallway, past the statue, past the rocks, and like that fountain. And I just remember that little area was always like very like suspect to me.
Oh, yeah. My mom, Kat, and I were on a 3-way call the other day, and my mom shared a story about Grammy. So when I was born, Grammy and my mom's mom passed away before she had a chance to see me. And that night, Grampy swore they saw little Mama, which was our great-grandmother, looking into the bassinet where I was laying. And Grampy's actually the one who told that story. Wow. Is in their home.
Ooh.
In
But
their
then
home.
also too, that area where they lived was like ranches and horses, and it was
ghosts.
all and
Yeah.
like I'm sure many people died on all of these grounds.
Oh, yeah.
but-
Oh, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So going back to like your mom, like did you? I feel like there was a story at one point where they found out who the man was. Did they or no?
I don't know. Honestly, I mean, that would have to be something my mom could share with you. But
Yeah.
again, after a while, when you hear knocking, you become accustomed to it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Isn't that wild? But
I-
we would definitely hear knocking on the wall.
I can't even get accustomed to Bubba.
I
And
know.
you want me to get accustomed to knocking.
I'm so sorry about that. What if
I would
that's
run out.
touchdown and not Bubba?
Oh my God.
Maybe she's barking at touchdown.
Oh, maybe he's like, keep barking.
Yeah. Rattle them up.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's. I've been around it. I know of other people who have shared experiences that ghost encounters, if you want to say. Some creepier than not. Others. So I'll share another story just real quickly, not related to my mom, but my aunt. And again, when you're a kid, people sit around and tell ghost stories, and you get freaked out. So on my dad's side of the family, my aunt was telling me that she was asleep, heard whatever that woke her up. She looked up and she could see something above her bed, right? She could just see something kind of floating around or whatever. And she screamed. And my cousin, who happened to be in the next room, for whatever reason, woke up to her scream. And as he woke up, he pushed the curtain aside and he saw something float by.
Oh God.
And when you're a kid and you're hearing these stories,
Your mind goes
it
places. Yeah.
scares
Yeah.
the living shit out of you.
Well, when we lived in Sylmar, my mom used to tell stories, and so like the neighborhood kids would come over, and I can't remember. I believe it was close to Halloween. My dad used to always love to decorate for Halloween. My mom also did too, right? But he used to love to scare the kids. So
Yeah.
he would get involved and volunteer at my school, and he created a haunted mansion one year. Like, you know, it was great. Like he always, and then one year I think he dressed up as one of the guys from the Warriors. Remember the Warriors? They were the baseball, like half and half, and it's an old movie. I'm surprised you don't remember the Warriors. You probably were like 27. It was definitely in the 60s, 70s. No, in the 70s. God. It's called The Warriors. And if
We
you
weren't born yet.
Yeah. Yes. He used to go Warriors, and so
Oh my God.
you know, we would always get dry ice, and my dad would like, you know, fill the front yard with fog, and they would do things. So he always had masks, and you know, he would scare with strobe lights. We were always fucking around with all sorts of stuff.
Your creator.
Yeah, so we were in my bedroom. It was myself, the neighborhood kid. His name was Joshua, and I think there were some other kids also too in the room. And my mom was telling the story of how her father used to scare them and tell them the story of the Llorona. So for those of you who don't know who the Llorona is, she apparently was, you know, she sold her soul to the devil, and he said, kill your children. She killed her children. There's been different variations over the years. It's progressed. However, this particular time, her father told her that the Llorona lived on the grounds of the mission.
Yes.
And so that on full moon nights, you could hear her crying. You'd hear her crying because she mourned because she killed her children.
Yeah.
So we're in my bedroom, and there was one single light on, and we're sitting there, right? And we're just focused on my mom as she's telling the story and how her dad would drive them through mission and shut the lights off on them. And he would say to them, if you don't act right, I'm going to lead you here with the Llorona. And they'd be crying. And he would terrorize them, right? And so she was like scaring us with this Llorona story. And she goes, and you hear her crying, oh, right. And you could hear a fucking fart in the room, right? It was totally, so my dad comes in the room. And he goes, I just need to get something out of the closet. And so I had like a big like sliding walk-in closet, which they used for part storage and then some for my clothes. And so he's in there, he's rummaging through. And so we weren't really paying attention to him at this point because we were so ensconced with my mom. And all of a sudden, my father comes out the closet. And he looks up, and he's got this old man bald mask on that has like a tooth, right? Okay. And all of us just went, and those boys in my room, they took off and ran.
Run too.
Oh my God, it was the fight. He scared the shit out of us. It was crazy. I mean, there were a couple of instances like that, but that's the one that I can think of being younger, where like your parents try to terrorize you with like scary stories.
I don't know one Mexican family that hasn't told the Llorona story.
Yeah,
Seriously.
totally. You're totally right. Yeah. You know, and it's a good story. I mean,
Yeah.
they made a movie out of it, of course, obviously.
Yeah.
But back in the day when your parents would sit there and tell those ghost stories, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
That would scare the shit out of me. Did you get any ghost stories, Louis?
I have none.
Cat?
I have a few.
Okay, good.
So when I was like 6, my mom had a salon, very big salon with 48 stations, hairdressers and all that. It was
Oh,
huge.
wow.
Yeah, huge salon. So she got this idea to have a photo shoot where it looked like I'm dressing up in her clothes with like, you know, some type of, I don't know what you call it, like a boudoir or, you know, trunks. And I'm supposed to be in like dressing up, right? And I was 6. I had the Dorothy Hamill haircut.
That's scary.
That was scary. That was the first scary part. And so one of the hairdressers lent the dress that I wore and this big hat. And so the picture I remember was very, not black and white, but kind of that sepia color. So her and her best friend was like the receptionist at the salon. So they were sitting at the table having a little joint, I guess. And all of a sudden, my mom looked over and she said, Kathy, I want you just to look and tell me. And before she could finish her sentence, Kathy was on top of my mom and freaked out. So what happened was in the picture, next to my face, there was an old lady's face, plain as day, right next to my face. So my mother got out a sheet and the Bible. And the next day at the salon, she's telling the hairdresser that lent that she's describing what they saw. And she said, you know, because she lived a couple blocks away, she said, I'll be right back. Comes back with a picture and says, is this who you saw? And my mom, they were freaked. It was I think it was either her grandmother, her great grandmother. And she said she would have been so pissed that I lent the dress.
Whoa.
So she actually showed her face next to mine. So after that story, my mother was like, I don't want this picture. So my grandmother everybody took the picture in the family at some point to kind of like prove that it was a garbage story, but it wasn't. And so I remember even recently, like not that long, a few years ago, we were so convinced that maybe there was this picture was carrying something. My mother and I burned it in the tub. I mean, which was, I don't even.
Oh my God.
I wish
You kind of wish you had that picture today.
I do. I'm like,
Yeah,
why
yeah.
did I do that? I told my mom, like, oh my God, this has been plaguing us for years. Let's burn it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was like the first thing. But my mother always saw people. Like her first encounter was these 3 hooded figures. And then when she was married to my dad, at the foot of the bed one night, she saw them appear again. And then years later in the 80s, we have a friend who's an abbot at the monastery, like east of Palmdale in Pear Blossom. So my mom's out for a stroll, and this is like, monks, and it's a monastery. So she goes over to Father Francis, our friend that was the abbot, and said, oh, when did you guys get white robes? Because they always had the brown robes. And he's like, what are you talking about? And she said, I saw the 3 monks walking with the white robes. And he's like, Sharon, we don't have white robes. There's no white robes. So that was the 3rd time she had seen whatever these figures were that she was trying to, because as a child, married to my dad in her 20s, and then again in her late 50s.
Did she ever research it to see like what they were, who they were?
She tried. I think it was some nuns that happened to be. She was trying to figure it out, but she really never figured out because there was no faces in the hood.
Oh, that's weird.
Right?
That's weird.
But it always plagued my mom. So for me, okay, so she had an antique store in the early 2000s in Venice. And there's actually a fabric store at the corner, and they own the whole block. So my mom and her friend opened this antique store. Getting the antique store going, all the problems started when he was building out a restroom for their store. So he broke the wall into the next store, which would have been another store, but it was all storage. Once he broke through that wall, all the activity started in the store.
That's why they say it's kind of something you should be wary about when you buy things like secondhand or you go to
Yes,
thrift store
Angelo.
and you bring something into your home,
Yeah.
Yes.
like a lamp or a
Yep.
candle
Yeah.
holder, because you don't know what spirit or what dead person has attached themselves to their shit. It's pretty creepy.
I heard Billy Bob does not mess with antiques, as well as I guess he eats out with plastic utensils. Doesn't use the silverware in a restaurant, but he doesn't do antiques for that reason, like secondhand stuff for that exact reason.
I wonder what the reasoning is behind not using utensils.
I don't know, but he'll wear blood, and then they have blood around their necks. Him and Anthony, that's a little odd, but I know, right? It's probably just germs.
I think when you get rich, you just have access to all the most insane things, and I
Yeah.
think that if you start to believe it. You're like, oh my God, this would be amazing if we like put our blood together. And yeah, there's like, meanwhile, people like us are like, what the fuck is that about? That's so crazy.
No, but but actually, growing up again, I had an aunt who, you spoke about the Ouija board, and I had an aunt who said, you have to really be careful about opening up that door.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, the portal.
Because you just don't know what you're bringing, to your,
It may appear to be
forefront.
good, but it probably might not be. You need to be
Yeah,
good.
you think
Oh,
it's a
even
game
look-
and it's not.
Yeah, or even like the Winchester Mansion. Have you guys, if you had to have heard of the Winchester
Oh, yeah,
Mansion?
yeah.
So the Winchester Mansion, that famous mansion where it was like what Winchester rifles.
Yes,
And
I watched
they built this home, but like some of the rooms,
They're not finished.
not only they're not finished. There's doors in the ceiling.
Yeah.
There's like you can look in the window, and it's just like it's sealed off, but it's a column in the middle of the home.
Yeah.
And there's all these different like stairs that just go up for no reason, but they don't go anywhere because they believe that the spirits wanted to do something and walk around the house. And I'm like, that's a lot.
creepy,
That's a
yeah.
lot. I would be really afraid. Could you imagine being a sibling there? I would.
No.
I would shit my pants.
I will run out. I don't want to see anything. I mean, I do not. Where I live now, my mom said she saw a woman walking in the hall. I'm like, I don't need to see anything.
Yeah, I think we're luckier because this area is kind of newer. I'm not Santa Paula, but where we live is newer.
Yeah.
Santa Paula is very old.
Right.
But spirits follow you. It doesn't matter.
Oh,
Spirits
that's
will
true.
follow you.
Yeah, spirits will follow you, like at the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland.
I used to always love that when it would turn and you leave with your ghost.
Yeah, motherfucker.
So I'll share another couple of stories, but I'll save one for when we're kind of ready to wrap it up. Okay. So visited family member in San Antonio. San Antonio, Texas is known for its ghost town, right? So we went through a tour and they were pointing out different hotels that were haunted. And
Can I do? I have a San Antonio story where you just sparked me with a quick. So it was with Bama. We went to San Antonio. I don't remember the year, but it was my mom. Like everybody had gone from the family, and Bama was there also too. And we just so happened to go watch one of the parades. Well, when we were watching the parades, we happened to somehow be in the gay section. And I didn't know what I was at that point. I kind of wasn't really out to my family at that moment in time. But Bama met this gay couple because she wanted a beer and they had a cooler full of beer. And so they go, yeah, no problem, Grandma. We'll give you a beer. So they gave her a beer. We started chatting them up. Anyways, they became our tour guides of San Antonio. They had a car. They literally picked us up from the hotel and they took us all around to go eat. We went all these different places, but going back to Ghost Stories Now San Antonio, they begin to tell us the story of how they're about to take us into this neighborhood. And the neighborhood, if you notice, all of the names of the streets are the names of children. Beth, Chris, right? Creepy. And so he's beginning to tell a story and we're driving through and you see all the names of children. He goes, it's just this area is known for that because a long time ago there was a horrific bus accident where the train ran into the bus and killed all the children. Whoa. And we're about to take you to that point. So we pull up and we weren't the only ones there. And by the way, this was daytime. Mm-hmm. This wasn't even nighttime. This is daytime. And we pull up, right? And you see all these people. And what you do is you go to the train tracks and you shut your car off and you put it in neutral. And supposedly the children freak out and they push the car over the tracks so that they think that you're going to die. And so that they don't want you to die, right? Here's the really crazy part. So they did it and we get pushed over and we're like, oh my God, right? We're all freaking out. So I have photos. I need to go find them. I don't know if I'd find them in time, but I know I have photos somewhere of this because back in the day you could take on your 35 millimeter a panoramic. Remember those? And so I took a panoramic, and the reason why I did that is because he goes, look what they're doing. And people were taking baby powder and they were sprinkling it on the bumper. And when they went through, there's little handprints.
Oh, that's creepy.
And we were like, holy, I didn't believe it, right? Yeah. Until we did it and we got pushed over and then you see
the fingerprints.
And then people are like taking photos of all the bumpers because you see all the little handprints of them pushing the cars over the train tracks. It's and so it's crazy is there's no more. I don't believe the train still operates anymore because there was no arms, there was no nothing. You literally pull up to the train tracks, you put the car in neutral, and they push the car.
You just got stuck there. Isn't that weird?
Isn't that crazy? And what fortifies it, the scariness of it, is because all of the streets in that little neighborhood are all children's names. It's so creepy. Oh my God. Oh my God. And I'm
getting chills.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Like I totally interrupted your story, but like that's crazy.
Not at all.
You know, so I'll take it back over to you, but you said San Antonio and that sparked me because listen, being an older person, you forget things. I forget things all the time. And I just remembered my mom was there and we were in the car and we were like, I was like, this isn't going to happen. Like, right, like whatever, right? And then you see there was a line of cars. People line up
to get pushed over the tracks?
Over the tracks.
Oh my
People
God.
line up to get pushed over the tracks.
Probably do it.
And it's crazy. And then there they are putting baby powder on the back of the bumper. And then you see the little hands. Oh, it's so scary.
It's scary
so
and sad.
Do you remember the name of that?
I don't, but I did take pictures of the streets of the names of the children. And I took pictures because we didn't have baby powder, but another car that pulled up next to us, they had all, and I was taking photos of the back of their bumper and everybody was doing it. And you'd see them sprinkle the powder and then they go and then boom, they'd go over and you'd see the little handprints.
That is so creepy.
God, so sad, so sad.
And you weren't going to waste your Coke.
Yeah. Oh my God, we had a great time. But so back to Antonio, and I interrupted you. So go ahead.
So just on that, and I know I have all these stories, but so my friend from San Antonio came out, visited us, and she was like a true crimes fanatic, right? So she insisted we go to the Sharon Tate murder site.
Oh gosh.
At midnight on a Wednesday. Yeah. So we went, and it was during winter, so it's kind of cool, and it's just LA weathers can be eerie in itself, right? Yeah. Mulholland gets very foggy, and you can't see in front of you. Anyway, I'll make this as quick as possible. We went to the Sharon Tate house on Cielo Drive, and we stopped the car, and she wanted to touch the buzzer that lets you in, not to ring it, but to touch it. So we're sitting in the car. My car is off, and we're sitting there, and we're freaked out just by the whole being there. And suddenly, my side view mirror starts to turn, and we could hear the electronics of it turning. And she's like, "Did you do that?" And I said, "Wendy, I swear to God of my life, my hands are on the steering wheel." We were so freaked out, and I went to turn over the car, and it wouldn't turn over immediately. I mean, it eventually did, but it didn't start on the first try. I didn't have problems with my car. So between the mirror and that, we were so freaked out the entire time. So I know I talk a lot about Park and everybody ad nauseum. When I first started working with Park,
glad you can offer YouTube.
when I started working for Betty Davis back in 1927. Well, first of all, let's acknowledge how scary this jacket is.
Oh my God.
Everybody insisted I wear
it. The bigger story is what everybody didn't see, and that was these two right here that were in the makeup artist room trying on all the wardrobes. Does this look good? How's the lighting? Oh my God, my makeup. That's the scary story for me.
And I showed up late, shocker, right?
And they were still going
full well knowing that these two were going to be getting ready for their shots on lighting. Me, I just showed up. I came with my orange Halloween shirt.
Wardrobe.
Yeah. And here they are setting up their entire shots. That's scary.
Yeah. So I was in my early 30s when I started working for Park.
Ooh, a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
He's 60.
Scary.
68? He's 68? What did you say he was?
64. Yeah. 56, everybody. 56. So Park owned a house in Malibu at the time. So it wasn't on the beach.
Very near us.
Yeah.
Very near
yeah.
us.
Not too far. Yeah. It was on Latigo Canyon, which Latigo means the crack of a whip. So you went up this really windy road to get to it. She had like 5 acres, but there was nothing around her. And she hired me, and she said, "Do you want to live in the house? Prepare it so I can sell it." And I thought, oh my God, I just bought a house. But how could you pass up living in Malibu, right? So it is June. We are surrounded by fog, so you literally cannot see in front of you. And Keith was there. We're watching TV. He was out like a light, right? He was just out. I was still up. And we were laying in bed, and I had the TV on. I kind of heard laughter in the distance, right? But I didn't think much of it. I just kind of heard glasses, like you could hear ice in a glass, like somebody's, and it's a party atmosphere. And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here, right?
Some good Coke.
And the dogs are barking. And I thought, what's going on? So I thought I better go check because the dogs are outside, and I thought I'll just let them in. So I'm walking down this very long hall, and it's dark. And I'm inching towards a family room. And as I'm walking down the hall, I start to get a little apprehensive. I start to get chills, and I could hear laughter. And I'm thinking, it sounds like a party in the distance. And as I'm getting closer, that laughter, the party, the glasses, kind of that, it's in the distance, but I could hear it. I don't think I turned on lights at that point, but I am frozen in my steps. I have chills running down the back of my neck. And now I'm thinking I have to open the door to let the dogs in. And I couldn't. I was so afraid in that moment. So whatever it took to do that, I go to the door, I open it, the dogs come rushing in, I slam it, and I go back to the room. Long story short, many months down the road, the house is sold, and I'm sitting there with Park's accountant at the time. And I said, Sandra, I want to tell you something that really happened. She goes, oh, how did it go in Malibu? And I said, I want to tell you about this really weird thing that happened to me while I was there. So I tell her. And she looks at me and she goes, honey, didn't Park tell you? And I said, tell me. No, Park didn't. What was Park supposed to tell me? She goes, the family that lived there prior to Park had a baby that drowned in a jacuzzi right outside that. Now, the jacuzzi was gone. Right outside that door during a birthday party they were having for the child.
Whoa.
I heard the laughter and the party atmosphere and the glasses. Now, when I come to think about it, I don't know if I heard a baby crying. I didn't hear a baby crying, but that will stick with me until the day I die, because I remember the fear I had walking down that hall to open up that door that would have faced that jacuzzi where that baby died.
Oh my God.
And it was, I want to say it was Chris Christopherson who bought the family that jacuzzi as a housewarming party for them.
Sailing? I love that
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it was
The
Chris
actor.
Christopherson.
No, the actor.
the actor.
Yeah. And
That's Christopher
so
Cross.
I'm
Oh,
like,
thank you.
yeah. So when she said, honey, didn't Park tell you? And I thought, you son of a bitch, why didn't you tell me?
Oh, Angelo, you don't need to know that
God.
So that was, but I think what stayed with me was how paralyzed I became the closer I got to that door.
That is weird.
I mean, all I can say is, I love that for you.
And on that note,
And with all that being said, we love that for you too. We hope that you've enjoyed our Halloween episode. Thank you, Kat. Thank you, Angelo. Thank you, Cousin Louie. And thank you all for listening. And hopefully you're going to have a wonderful and safe Halloween. Remember to always do it like Danny, because we love that for you.